guys, Schnare. Listen, I want to go over a quick drill that we use with a lot of our clients that walk through my facility and that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. One of our common problems is sometimes we have either beginner lifters or advanced lifters, and a lot of people are using deadlifts and squat variations or even just single leg variations. Kettlebell swings, for example, or another movement with the lower body that kind of we see this one problem with. And it's having lower back problem while squatting or deadlifting if you even don't have a bad back per se or haven't experienced an injury. So one of the things that we often see is, other than the basic mechanical problems where maybe someone has mobility issues, or maybe that your feet are in the wrong position, or the bar's off your body, or in a bad position, is the way that you utilize your glutes and your hips when you actually lock out or initiate the movement. So a really nice drill that I like to teach everybody, and it's actually something we do right away when people start with us, is a basic lockout drill. And this is a drill that's going to allow you to not only feel the activation of your glutes, but allow you to feel what you should be trying to utilize as you come up out of a squat, a deadlift, a single leg movement, or a kettlebell swing, or any other hip dominant style movement. So a real simple drill: put yourself on the ground with your feet about shoulder width apart, and you're going to pull your toes up. Now what we're going to look for here are a few basic things, and then we'll go over the whole drill. One is that your rib cage doesn't flare up. Now I'm not looking for you to flatten your low back to the floor, but there's kind of a happy point between a flared rib cage or extended position and an overly flexed position. So we're going to get to the position where the low back has a small neutral curve. Spread those feet out. And what we're going to focus on here is I'm going to do 3 or 4 things. I'm going to, 1, plant the arms on the ground, and if right away you push into the floor, you're going to feel your lats kick in. So now we're starting to activate and pull those shoulders into a good position, which you'll see in a second why that matters. From there, the toes are up. I'm going to push my heels forward, and I'm going to pretend like someone's driving my knees inwards. So I'm going to actually actively push out to allow myself to feel the glutes externally rotate without overly rotating. So toes stay up. That'll prevent that external rotation to a far degree. I'm going to drive the heels forward, push the arms down, maintain my rib position without flaring or over flexing, and create some tension in my abdominals and midsection. So I plant the hands, drive my heels, keep my knees driven out, and a nice cue too is if you feel like you can't get that feeling of driving out, give yourself a second to feel if you're pushing in, if you don't have someone to do it for you. So block your own knees, push out, I can feel the glutes fire up, and from here, I'm going to drive my hips up into a bridge position, and I'm going to hold that 5-10 seconds to feel that contraction of the glutes. Now if you're in a squat or a deadlift position, this is really, really similar to what the problem that we see a lot of the time is, where people initiate a movement by creating a moment at their low back versus hinging through the hips. So if I'm coming up out of a squat, or if I'm finishing a deadlift or a kettlebell swing, if I allow myself to create pelvic motion before I create hip motion, I'm unlocking that rib cage and creating a faulty pattern in my spine, and low back pain is going to be inevitable. So again, if you picture that from a standing position, if I'm down here, the floor removes my ability to overextend because I can't drive past the floor. So there's a great cue to just quickly teach yourself, or anyone who's helping anyone else, how to feel the activation of the glutes and how to feel that lockout, as we call it, at the top of the movement. So again, the toes are up. I'm going to be driving my heels forward to activate the quads and almost shut down the hamstrings a bit. I'm squeezing the glutes hard. This time I'm not going to push out. I'm going to just go for the full activation. I push into the floor. I keep my rib cage in a neutral position, brace my abdominals. I'm going to drive my hips to lock out without overextending. That's where the ribs come in, and keeping tension into the floor. So you can do a few reps, making sure your butt hits the ground before your low back, and when you come up, making sure your low back comes up before your hips. Drive yourself to the top, feel it for a few seconds, pushing on the floor. You can see I'm almost shaking because I create so much tension here, lowering under tension, and that is going to be the exact feeling that you need to have, whether you're new or advanced in any of these lower body movements, to create that strong, solid lockout without going into a broken posture or broken position. So quick tip that can almost immediately alleviate back pain for pretty much anybody.